It's every parent's worst nightmare, I think, without a doubt. And yeah, not easy.
We'll find her. I promise you.
It's pretty distressing, I won't lie. It was a very unpleasant place to go to. The child is born out of a very loving relationship, and he suffers the extraordinary, unimaginably painful trauma of losing his child in a supermarket. I think that's what's extraordinarily violent about what happens to Stephen and his family, is that it literally is a case of looking over his shoulder once and the child is there, and looking over again and she's not. It's about how the very fragile nature of what has built him is destroyed by that incident and those around him.
Kate! Yeah? Please, has anyone seen a 4-year-old girl? She was wearing a yellow coat. Her name's Kate, please. You must have seen her. She was standing just there when I was paying, no? Kate!
You can't help but think of the reality that people have endured in our lifetimes with children going missing, and yeah, it's horrific. Of course it upset me, and I think it is an upsetting thing to view, but an important thing in a way to take from the story is that the extraordinary ability that humans have, the resilience that we have to continue living for that person, for that memory, and to create new love out of that. It's a brave thing in a way to do. The story charts that progression. It moves in a narrative way before and after the event. You were talking about the contraction of time, which is obviously a central element of the book and hopefully the film, if we succeeded. When seismic events happen, I think in any walk of life of any import to anyone, time does a strange thing. It can speed up and it can really slow down. You hear people describing violent moments, whether it's accidents or fights or something very unexpected and surprising, whereby it's almost as if things are seen, or in retrospect at least, if not in the moment, as almost being in slow motion. And then also time weirdly speeds up, because long stretches of time, I think, especially with grief, can go by without being marked, because the things that are important that you notice, the growth of a child, the presence of that life in the case of this story, are absent. And so the gravity of a situation literally kind of warps the space-time of it, if you will. The relationship between Stephen and Julie is critical to the story, because these are people experiencing life together, and this loss drives them apart, is the sort of simple headline of it. And it's because all that intimacy is so intricately woven and bound up in their love, which has produced this child, which is a manifestation of their love. And once that goes missing, they're both lost in their own worlds of grief, I think, is the simplest way of putting it. And it fractures their relationship, and it reaches a breaking point.
What is it you want? You want me to give up?
Yes. I want you to give up. Because you always let me down. You never bring her home. And you're drinking too much.
I'm supposed to drink too much.
I can't live here anymore!
At the root core of their love is something that survives, which is a beautiful thing and a romantic thing. And the fact that you've lived together and lived for a child together as parents and loved one another and been friends, all those things can take on a very separate narrative when something as seismic as that happens in the middle of a relationship. And I think Ian draws that out spectacularly in the book, and I hope we've achieved that with Stephen's equally brilliant adaptation.
I love you.
I love you more.